We're going to talk about a win in court for Scientology and how Scientology came up with a call to action on World Mental Health Day. That and so much more in today's Scientology recap. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Aloha to everybody's in the live chat. Welcome to the members, and thank you to the moderators for being here helping out. I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult, where we talk about cults and Scientology being culty, my 35 years in this cult, and leaving with 3 generations of my family. So welcome. We have so much Scientology news to cover, including a win against Scientology in court, so much more. So we are going to jump into all of it and start with Scientology's call to action on World Mental Health Day. Did you guys know? I'm telling you. Hey, Kelly Copter. Yes, we're kicking off a fun weekend. We are searching for the Northern Lights here in Minnesota and celebrating a friend of mine's birthday. We did not see them last night, but I also fell asleep at like 11 o'clock. So hopefully tonight, but we're supposed to be able to see them here in Minnesota. You just gotta, it's getting a little cooler, so it's not as comfortable sitting outside after dark the whole time, but I think we just might. Hey, ex-witness Vernon. No, I am not in Florida. I'm back in Minnesota. I'm just a little bit north of where I live. Yes. The end of musing. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay, let's get back to this Scientology call to action on World Mental Health Day so you can all lose your mind along with me. So this is, of course, one of Scientology's press releases, a little bit of propaganda. And they're saying that in observance of World Mental Health Day on Thursday, October 10th, so this supposedly just happened, Scientology Network will present a marathon television event featuring the work of the Citizens Commission on Human Rights and its partners to expose psychiatric abuse. So very rich that, as per usual, Scientology is trying to position themselves as having the solutions to mental health to help people while actively doing an exhibit they take all over the world called Psychiatry, an Industry of Death. So pick a lane, Scientology, pick a lane. The thing is, the lie is that Scientology is the better alternative to any type of psychological or psychiatric care or help for mental health conditions. And we know that is not what they do. So I always get a little bit of a kick out of the level of how disturbed I get when they do stuff like that, because it's so obvious to those of us who grew up in Scientology or were in Scientology, and to so many of you never in Scientology, but all in on bringing down this cult. You guys know, you know. Mena, thank you so much. Big thanks to T for reminding me, so I didn't miss this. I've given the like and aloha, have you? Thank you, Mena, and hello to T if you're in there. Kelly Copter says, Scientology be like, don't trust the psychs. Only we can help you get rid of the aliens. That's such a great point, Kelly. The psychiatrists just don't know how to get rid of the alien body thetans that have infested you for millions of years, 76 million years to be exact. That's a great point. That is a great point. Oh, T is in the UK still. Awesome. Good day from the UK. Usually she's out in Australia. That is fabulous. Now let's jump into a story where this just violates my childhood in so many ways. I don't know about you guys, and we're really going to need to talk about this. And I want to hear your thoughts in the live chat. I want to hear your thoughts. If you're catching this on replay, jump into those comments. I could not believe what my ears were hearing and my eyes were reading. Church of Scientology to buy historic Muppet Studios on lot established by Charlie Chaplin. So the Church of Scientology is finalizing its purchase of the historic studio lot that housed the Muppets for over 23 years. And this thing, put a 1 in the chat if you were a Muppets fan growing up. I think many of us, the Gen Xers and even younger, were, grew up on the Muppets. Would have been a little later for me, but still, Kermit, I can still remember the album that got put out for the Muppets. I was listening to it on an actual album with, songs about rainbows, all the classics. So I feel particularly upset about this because of that connection. I'm glad to see so many of you in the chat. And again, on the replay, jump into the comments. One, if you grew up with the Muppets, because I think those of us that do, it's kind of like, it hits a little. It hits a little. So the Henson family announced over the summer that they were selling the landmark lot, once home to Charlie Chaplin Studios, which will now be part of the ever expanding cult of Scientology. You guys know I can only say Church of Scientology like 2 or 3 times before I no longer can. And I have to go to the correct pronunciation, which is cult. It is unclear what use the cult will find for a studio that traces its history to the golden age of Hollywood. The Muppet Studio will reportedly remain a tenant at the site. I have mixed feelings about that. I hope they don't do anything to try to recruit people from the land of Muppets. So the Church of Scientology, excuse me, my mistake. The cult of Scientology owns millions of square feet in real estate assets across the country, including more than 24 buildings in Hollywood. So when we're done with this live stream, I'm going to link down below all of these articles and videos that we're going to go over. I'm just like, what is happening here? It's Mike Sandoval. It is such a historic studio. That's true. Molly Moon even says, yeah, that hurts. Sin to Scientology, that's sacrilege. Mike Sandoval says Charlie Chaplin built it. Right, Remarch? You remember the Rainbow Connection? That was such a great song as a kid. I remember listening to it over and over again on the giant headphones and, just putting the needle for the album back to hear it again. You guys know it. I'm not going to sing it, but you know it. You know it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward. What are they going to use the space for, right? So there's that space. And then we've talked about over the last few days too, them wanting to buy Adele's 40-something acres near St. Hill Manor in East Grinstead. So as per usual, seems like Scientology is out trying to do a land grab on a few things. So we'll keep an eye on that. But I'm glad you guys are like kind of bent as I am that don't you dare touch the Muppets. Do not infect the Muppets with your Scientology cultiness. I cannot take it. All right, now let's move over and I want to take a look. We're going to revisit an interview that Aaron at Growing Up in Scientology did with Lisa Marie Presley's half-brother, Priscilla Presley's son. Because on October 8th, Lisa Marie Presley's memoir, which was finished by her daughter, Riley Keough, is coming out. It's going to be released same day that there's going to be an interview with Oprah Winfrey and interviewing Riley Keough about this memoir that Lisa Marie Presley did hours and hours and hours of video for, and Riley Keough, her daughter, finished it after her death. So we've been talking a lot about, well, what's going to be in it? Do we think there's going to be Scientology? What are their thoughts? And I remember this interview that Aaron did, and I thought, you know what, let's revisit it because he shared some very interesting things about the family. Navarone is, like I said, the half-brother to Lisa Marie Presley and son of Priscilla Presley. So let's take a look at this.
And I even heard that even Riley was fully on board with trying to take down Scientology, and that throughout all of this, Priscilla remained a loyal soldier, a loyal Miscavige soldier. In your opinion, how much of that is true?
No, I think the second my sister left the office, she called my mom and said, "Mom, I just did this. Like, we're out. We're never going back." And I think we had a meeting that night, my mom at my grandparents' house. My mom said, with my sister, they took me aside. They're like, "Look, we're leaving. We're never going back." I was like, I was never going to go back there anyway, but congratulations, guys. Like,
your mom said that?
Yeah.
Remember, this was shocking because we've not heard anything publicly about Priscilla Presley leaving Scientology, and her son sharing this news last year was the first time any of us had heard that.
What year, if you had to estimate, what year would that have been?
12 years ago.
I'm not good at math because I grew up in a cult, but let me try to work it backwards.
So, like
2013?
Yeah, that's 10 years ago. Yeah, around there. Yeah, 2013, 2012 maybe.
And I even heard that even Riley was fully on board with trying to take down Scientology, and that throughout all of this, Priscilla remained a loyal soldier.
It's so interesting because it is not, again, publicly what we've heard. And this was shared last year. So it's making me even more hopeful that the Scientology truth will be in there. So we're going to have to see. I pre-ordered my book. It's going to show up on my Kindle on the 8th. I'm telling you, I'm probably going to be up at midnight. Like, actually, no, I can barely stay awake past 11 o'clock. That's why I might have missed the Northern Lights last night, because I just could not stay up any later than that. But we're going to try again. But this is interesting. So there's another, let me see here. Did I do 2 clips from this? I think I did. So let's take a look at another clip from the same interview. Let's see if it's a different one.
Oh, because let's be honest, nobody but Scientology knows as much dirt on all of its high-profile members. Like any of the tabloid, these guys could start leaking shit to the tabloids. In fact, that's what Lisa Marie was afraid about at the end of her, towards the end of her life.
Yeah, of course.
They outright threatened to take sides against her in custody disputes and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, because
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? What church does that, right? A cult, not a church, a cult. You're going to go get against her in custody battles because she might speak out about Scientology. That is exactly Scientology dirty tricks. And if I had my Davy doll with me, I'd be banging it right now, but I didn't, because you know what? He deserves to be in a corner in my house right now and not at this beautiful cabin by the lake looking for the Northern Lights. So I did not want to bring him and that negativity here. But I feel we need to still wake up the Office of Special Affairs and, well, Office of Special Affairs. It's Saturday, so I'm going to be a little more quiet and gentle with you. Rise, my lovelies, rise. Do you see what's happening here? I think so much that the truth is going to come out. I really hope it does. But I'm going to link down below to that interview, because I'm telling you guys, you may want to go back and watch that whole interview, even if you saw it before, because that interview with Aaron and Navarone, Priscilla Presley's son, is incredibly eye-opening. So when this video is done, I'm going to link it down below. Go watch it, and I'm sure we will talk about it more. Just like we're going to talk a little bit more about Rebecca Minkoff's and the Real Housewives of New York, because she got asked a little question about Scientology, and let's see how she handled it.
Rebecca, also, we see in the trailer, Bryn asked you about your relationship to the Church of Scientology.
Yeah.
Why did you want to come and talk about that, knowing that it will be probably something on people's minds?
You know what? It's part of who I am. I was raised Jewish and in Scientology. I'm proud of it. Life is really stressful. So for me, this has been a place that I turn to deal with stress, being a better communicator, being a better mom. And so that's who I am.
And that is it. So let's pick this apart here a little bit. That is very much and you know what? I don't blame her for drilling it, right? She's got to have pat answers to these things. And when you do media, whether with celebrities or people that are doing any type of media, you want to be ready with what you're going to say, be prepared to answer questions. But when you are a Scientologist in the media, there's an extra step there where you actually do. And maybe they do this outside. I shouldn't say that. I don't know what they do in other places, but I know based on my own experience in Scientology, when you are a Scientologist that's going to be in the media, the Office of Special Affairs, their public relations people want to make sure that your messaging is on point. And by on point, not trashing or throwing shade to Scientology, but they want you to be successful, and they know that you get dragged through the mud if you are connected to Scientology. So it's a very safe answer to say, I was raised, Jewish and in Scientology. Her answer she gives, I really feel I'm trying to distance myself. It's like it's something that I grew up with. It's something that helps me with stress. And that's just not how it works. And her family has donated millions and millions of dollars to Scientology that David Miscavige has used to try to silence his critics in Scientology, and failed, I might add. Lithanda, thank you so much for the super sticker. What would Muppets body thetans look like? Incredibly cute. I'm telling you right now. I bet they would be incredibly cute. Christy Robbins, I want to thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel today. Hip hip hooray. Big aloha and mahalo to you. I truly appreciate that support. If you're interested in becoming a member of the channel, Nancy will throw up a link. You can also go in the description of this video. There will be a link there if it's not already there, and you can hit join if you're watching from your phone. And remember, if you're watching from your phone, hit that screen 2 times and see what happens. You like the video. All right, now moving on. Janis Grady shared a snippet Actually, she speaks more about it. We're going to look at a clip, but I'll link the full video down below so you can see it, of a story of a Scientologist that is just heartbreaking because of Scientology disconnection. There's a man she's speaking of who is older, elderly at this point, and his daughter, who is older, is in the Sea organization and is practicing Scientology disconnection and is not in touch with her father, who desperately would like information about how his daughter is. So Janis Grady, who is an ex-Sea Org member, she was in the Sea organization way back in the day with L. Ron Hubbard. She has an invaluable amount of information about Scientology and the Sea Org in the early days. So if you're not familiar with her channel, check it out because she shares a lot of great information. But here is the thing. This we're going to look at, there was a photo caught of his daughter. So he was able to see her, but it makes it all so much more sad. Give this a listen.
Homer, longer than that, has not communicated with his daughter Valerie because he's been declared. And anytime I get news on Valerie, I always shoot it over to Homer. You know, he's still got his fatherly love, and he misses his daughter, but she's still in the Sea Org and she's still brainwashed and she doesn't communicate with him. And I asked some people if they could kind of snoop around and see if they could find any indications of where Valerie is. And this was a few years ago, and she was still doing uniforms. And I got this photograph of Valerie.
Look at that. It's the only, because she came out to empty the garbage and somebody just so happened to be there, was able to grab a photo so that Homer could have at least a glimpse of his daughter.
Here she is. All these years later, she's probably in her 60s now, early 60s, and still working away. There she's taking trash out. That was the only way to get the photograph of her.
How sad is that? But at least he got to see his daughter and see, okay, is she okay? And we really don't know. That's just a photo of her taking out the trash. She doesn't look happy. Janet from another planet, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate that very much. All right, where are we at, people? Where are we at? Okay, we are here. If you are not already following a Scientology rundown, that's Bianca. And she did a really good video the other day called Tell Me It's a Cult Without Telling Me It's a Cult. And she speaks a little bit about a recent experience conversation she had with somebody who left Scientology. And just listen to what she has to say.
And I met this person today for the first time, and they told me their story, which I'm very honored that they were willing to tell me that. And it was tragic, of course, tragic and horrifying. They were never in the Sea Org. They were never on staff. They were public and brought into Scientology at a fairly young age. And I don't know what's worse, the horrifying stories or the fact that I'm not shocked by them. Like, I mean, I'm shocked, but I'm also like, yeah, that tracks.
Link down below so you can watch her full video, and it's a very well done video. I'm glad Bianca is back sharing on YouTube, and you could just see and you could feel the emotion. And this is even someone who she met and her story and how it impacted her. And it really hit me too. What she said is, even though I experience that on a regular basis, I feel like I shouldn't be surprised or shocked by a lot of these stories and things I still hear about Scientology, given my 35 years in Scientology. And I knew what it took to leave with my family, and I knew what happened afterwards. And it's still so heartbreaking. And I think it's a good thing that we don't become numb to how horrible these stories are, that we don't become numb to the impact that it has on not just a victim of Scientology, but the people around them as well, that this affects, whether there might be family disconnection, whatever it is. So just Bianca, whoever your friend is who you met, my heart goes out to her, and thank you for continuing to show up and share and do what you do. And I know that it's hard, and I can see that it's hard. We all can. So if everybody can show Bianca some extra love today on that, go check out her video. Because again, these things are difficult to talk about at times. Capricious Caroline says, when you have empathy, you can't help but feel their pain. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Everybody who's popping in, remember to go show that like button some aloha if you would, and hit subscribe as well. Let's go over to Kansas City now, where next level ridiculousness ensued while they were out, because they can't recruit so much in front of Scientology in places where people are live streaming and protesting Scientology. And in Kansas City, you have Z News there auditing Scientology Kansas City. That's Mike and Casey Cat, and I think there's a couple of other people who will show up here and there as well, who are doing just that and showing us that nobody's there. So Scientology in Kansas City has to go elsewhere to fairs and public events in order to try to recruit, to share their books. Kenny, I see your comment. Nancy, can you throw Bianca's link up again? I know you put it up already, but just so he has that as well. Shelly, welcome. Glad you're here. Good morning, Julie, and aloha, Irish Matt. So let's take a look at what happened, because wait till you guys see this. I just was like, and you guys know Allie, Z News, she's the one, I had her on the channel. We listened to recordings that she had speaking with a long-term Sea Organization member who is posted there in Kansas City. So many of you may remember her. If you didn't catch that video, go to my channel, go to live, and you just got to scroll down till you find it. It is a good one. So let's take a look here. This was a First Friday event that Scientology was at, and this is from Auditing Scientology KC, that's Kansas City. That's Mike who shows up there. So this is from his stream. Again, going to link the whole thing down below. So here are Scientologists setting up their volunteer minister tent at this event. Let's see what happened.
Are you going to try to use your OT powers against us? Going to be cause over mess? No? Yeah.
You'll never know.
Yeah.
You'll never know. What, we're going to vanish in a poof of smoke? You're going to postulate us away as a poof of smoke?
No.
I mean, that would get rid of us,
It'd be a
right?
little more subtle than that.
A little more subtle.
Yeah.
Well, if OTs can make the hurricane path change, surely you could make it rain. So if you made it rain, we would leave.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
We would leave,
Marjorie Taylor
and
Greene.
the rain would wash away our chalk.
What is he talking about? So Mike, auditing Scientology, is talking about washing away the chalk if he makes the changes the weather with his mind, which Scientology, specifically the ones who reach the operating thetan levels and have been down with Xenu and getting rid of body thetans, believe that they can do. Many of them do. And he's talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. What am I missing here?
If there is any.
Yeah, I think that's a little weird.
Are you 2D flowing Mike over there?
And I don't know if you heard that, but Allie, Z News jumps in and goes, are you 2D flowing, Mike? Now, 2D flowing is Scientology is basically flirting or just, kind of giving a sexual vibe.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, you got all the lingo down, don't you, girl? I think you know what you're talking about. You have no idea. Anyway.
See how that threw him? She used Scientology terminology, and she even used it correctly against him. Now, and against is not even the right word. On, communicated with it. I will say this, in my experience, a lot of people have asked me, how did you leave Scientology with 3 generations of your family? It is a very long story. I've talked about it some here on the channel, and I would continue to talk about it. I'm going to try and do shorter videos about that. So much of it, the biggest thing I realized is that I had to use Scientology on them. I know what their rules are. I know it's like playing chess. If you do this, you can probably push that move. And because I, was in Scientology for 35 years and the Sea Organization and on staff, I was trained in the ways of what they would do. So using Scientology on Scientology, it tends to kind of shut them down, as it did with this guy.
Your second dynamic? I know what your second dynamic is.
You know what your second dynamic is? Yeah.
He just basically was irritated, but there's really nothing that they could do. And then I loved that Z News, there's a guy there. We're going to look at another clip here. His name is Don. He's sitting on the table there. He used to live here in the Twin Cities. And so my family has known him for years, really. So he now lives in Kansas City. And gosh, he's got to be close to 80 or around there. And he is a very hardcore Scientologist. Let's take a look at what happened.
Dawn, Natalie Webster says hi.
So she yells, Dawn, Natalie Webster says hi.
She's speaking out about all the abuses, letting the world know. She has 20,000 subscribers on YouTube.
He's like, he can totally hear her, but he has to play the game of, I see nothing, I hear nothing. But imagine it. You're out at, in Kansas City. It's First Friday. Everybody's going out for drinks and dinner, to hang out, to see other people participating. And here's this Scientology volunteer minister's tent with 3 not very happy looking people wanting to hand them flyers and get them on their massage table. See the table that Don's sitting on? That's the massage table that they drag around to do Scientology assists. Touch assist. You can do like a nerve assist where you basically then touch all over everybody's body at that point. Not to be outdone, one guy there was feeling a little left out, I guess. So they had a conversation. He stepped in as well to chat with Auditing Scientology and Z News.
Laura! And they watch you collect them. They are. I have Megan Anderson in the chat with me. Do you know who Megan Anderson is? Phil Anderson's daughter? No, Phil Anderson. She is. She's a musical genius. Yeah. Oh, bull bait me some more. My chat will love it. Bull bait.
He's literally trying to bull bait her, and bull baiting in Scientology is one of the training routines. And what happens is you sit across from somebody when you're doing this drill. Let me get my leg positioning right. Feet on the ground, your hands on your lap. And you just have to sit there and confront the person and basically stare at them and not flinch or react to anything they say or do to you. If I'm remembering it right, they can't actually touch you, but they can say and do anything. And if you laugh, if you react, if you get mad, if you cry, whatever you do, they say, flunk, start. And then they do the exact same thing until you have no reaction to it. And that is called bull baiting in Scientology. And they actually think too that like, that is a technique then to use on people who don't agree or against Scientology. And honestly, outside of Scientology, people bull bait all the time. Bull baiting is just the Scientology word for it. And I love that she brought that up to him too.
Bait me some more. My chat will love it. No, nothing else. Man, I thought you were gonna get going.
Interesting too, again, that she called him out on the bull baiting. She used his terminology. Go ahead and bull bait me some more. She knew what he was doing. She basically communicated it in his language. And you'll notice when she did that with those 2 different Scientologists, they pretty much backed off and walked away. It introverted them. It made them look in on themselves because they don't expect that. They don't expect people who've never been in Scientology, but all in on ending this cult, to know the terminology and use it correctly. And when they do, it kind of breaks the facade. It breaks the training routines because they don't expect it. This is something I think personally is a good thing to do it that way, because it does seem to kind of shake them up and wake them up a little bit, if nothing else, in that moment. Welcome to everybody who's coming in from Maryland. Room Raid, thank you so much for being here. From Coffee, Cult, and Coffee. Welcome, everybody. Hit that like button on your way in and subscribe. And you might want to set your notification bell to all, because I'm going to hop on at some point today or tomorrow and do a video with my sister Lana, because we are together. And later today, I have an interview coming up at 5 Central Time. Scientology Audit Streets LA is coming on the channel again for another sit down and an update. So keep an eye out for that. Let's take a look now in Los Angeles at Eric Rader. Eric Rader is out there putting up miles of flyers about Scientology, and Scientology cannot even rip them down. Anybody else love the sound of the stapler? I don't know why. I like it. Maybe it's just because what it's doing. And by the way, yes, Marilyn's channel is Coffee, Cults, and Crafts. I think I missaid it. But thank you, everybody, for being here. And thank you, Marilyn, as well. Yeah, Raiders the man, Stapletology, right? Power lies to paralyze. Absolutely. He is. Indigo's Insights, Scientology, Staples. That's right. I don't know. I love it. I just love the sound of it. I think it's because what it's actually doing. Oh, and hey, Eric, I see you're here. Fabulous. Me and Taz says, Eric Rader is my main man. I love it. I love the sound. Now let's go take a look at, speaking of Scientology Audit Streets LA, he was live yesterday and he was chatting with Solomon, who also had a win in his case, and updating people on that. Let's take a look at what he had to say.
Well, let me ask you something. Who helped you fill out the restraining order papers?
Me, I did it, and my mom.
Who went there?
Me and my mom.
Right. You didn't have a bunch of help. People keep on saying, like, try to say that you had a bunch of help. Like, nobody helped. Now, don't be wrong. Everybody out here will support you, but you guys handled it from beginning to end. But this is like, I will say this, you know, I'm not going to mention any names, but I know there are some protesters out here that want to get some restraining orders, and they were scared to do it on their own, and they're asking for help. But yet you, as a 16-year-old at the time, well, it's not, I would say this, Solomon, as a 16-year-old, it's not easy for any 16-year-old to do. And you did it on your own. I think you took the initiative to do it. You did it, you were unafraid. I love the way you even enter the court when they call your name and you come and they ask you to say your name and you said it with pride and you said it loud. You handled yourself well. I'm really proud of you. Well, let me ask you something. Who helped you?
I love that he gave him a shout out like that. And it's true. He's been through a lot, and him and his mom have done a great job to advocate for themselves and make incredible headway in the case that Solomon was dealing with. And like I said, later on today, 5 Central, sometimes Streets LA has to change the time when we've scheduled before. So it might be a moving target, but we settled on 5 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. his time today. So again, when you subscribe, hit your notification bell to all, and maybe you'll even get a notification of it. Absolutely. Oh, yes. Love to Audit LA as well. I invited her on the channel a couple of weeks ago. She says she's got a lot going on and will let me know when she has the time to come on and talk more about so much of what she's been doing out there, because she's been doing a lot. Yep. Indigo's Insight says Streets has been there to support Solomon in the background. It's great to see. I agree. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some of those cases. Sovereign Brihan. Oh my God. I didn't think I could love Good more. Such a mensch. Okay. So let's take a look now. We're going to look at a clip from Aaron growing up in Scientology about Kendrick Moxon, who is the attorney set out by Scientology. All he does is represent Scientology in these cases that Scientology works to create to tie up people live streaming and protesting Scientology in court so they can't be at the blue buildings. This is something they have a long history of doing, of using the courts to basically abuse the system. But let's take a look at this. Kendrick Moxon's role in the Danny Masterson cover-up is the name of the video.
And Dorothy White was also representing Danny in his restraining order hearings. And we're going to be doing a chat on Monday or Tuesday after the weekend. But after court got out today, I got a text from William from Streets, and he said, hey, there's actually something really important that came up in the proceedings, and nobody's mentioned it yet. And it is, he said, there was a proposal from the Los Angeles City Council, City Commission. I don't know what they have out there. There was a proposal to create a protest buffer zone around places of worship. And the vote on this proposal was, the can was kicked down the road a little bit. I've got to find the actual date of the new vote on this. But, and this is something that was proposed, not specifically to protect Scientology. It's something that is proposed. It's something that has arisen out of a lot of the protests that have been going on surrounding the current Middle East conflict.
There's more information on that too in the rest of the video. Like I said, as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go ahead and link all of those links so you can go watch those videos. Oh, Kathy, I love this. Susan, I'm a good grandma too. Make sure you join us. Hopefully you can catch it live, but if not, catch it on the replay. It's going to be a good one. I always love sitting down and talking to William Good. All right, now let's take a look. We're going to look at a clip from Dodge Landisman, who was out at the courthouse and did an interview and got some information from the woman of the hour, attorney Dorothy Gibbons-White. She is definitely the woman of the hour here. Let's take a look. She had quite a lot to say, and I love it.
To my mind, calling a public sidewalk area and street my block sounds pretty gang-like to me. And it wasn't my client that spoke like that. No public sidewalk belongs to any individual, it belongs to the people. And it's a place where public speech takes place. And the Supreme Court has reiterated over and over, confirming that the public sidewalks are a place for robust speech. And robust speech is not always pleasant. It can be an argument, a discussion, and things that can be said that are upsetting and annoying. And protest is supposed to be annoying and disruptive.
That's the point.
So no one has the right to walk on a sidewalk free of annoyances of other people. We have to live with other people, and we all own the sidewalk together. And everything in this case occurred on a sidewalk.
That is so true. And you'll notice that this is a theme with Scientology, where there's this idea that they own the sidewalks and all of the public property around them. And that's just a false idea, but they still continue to act in a way that is incredibly entitled, that they're somehow superior or have more rights than somebody else who might be using that same public property.
And in the first instance where they said my client had committed violence.
And remember, they're the first ones to get somebody kicked out of a public event or anything like that. So really pot kettle here, Scientology.
He didn't commit any violence. He tried to stop further violence. The petitioner on his electric scooter that's illegally being ridden on the sidewalk against the vehicle code.
And there are so many videos of this guy with the scooter on the sidewalk, even before and after that day.
On that sidewalk, that he was blocking their ability to get past him. He shoved that scooter into my client. My client grabbed the scooter to stop it. And he yelled out, startled, that he was run over and pinned against the tree. So to try to turn that into something my client did to him, it didn't fly. It wasn't credible. And the judge made the right decision.
I love too, like Nancy's pointing out here, don't you love her goldenrod dress? Did you guys notice that? She's wearing a yellow goldenrod dress. And for those who might not know, in Scientology, when Scientology declares you a suppressive person, as they call it, they create a document that's on that color paper called a goldenrod, because it's goldenrod is the color. Suppressive person declare. And they do this with other ethics actions as well, using that color. So I think it's so poetic.
And she carefully went over that evidence.
Yes, very much
because
so.
the way she gave her decision, she carefully went over that evidence. And I would also like to add, she was very generous with the petitioner's side of this case. This was a 3-day trial. And we had a lot of so-called housekeeping on the first half of the first day, because Mr. Moxon did not properly provide his exhibits, and there was a lot of mess that had to be cleaned up, evidentiary objections that had to be ruled upon. So he ended up then getting all the time after that for his case, plus time on the third day, and I'm still not able to put on my case.
Because remember, Scientology, what they want to do, their whole game is not so much to win the case. Their goal is to delay, to tie people up in court for as long as they possibly can. Because with the temporary restraining order, they have to stay away from the blue buildings until court and all of that is done. So Kendrick Moxon's job is to get in there and delay and try and gum up the trial as long as possible to keep that in place. That's all a part of their plan. I don't think they will continue to lose these because it's an abuse of the court system, which I think she talks about that as well.
I shortened my case. I put on only my client because I felt seeing 3 different versions of the video was enough.
Is Kelly there in the background too? You can find her here on YouTube.
And we slowed it down. and we showed individual frames.
Right,
We
he got
went
his
back
witness,
over it.
not the other one.
And his witnesses gave much of the testimony that was very helpful to us. And my client is credible because he's telling the truth. And so I didn't put on the other two witnesses that I had in the interest of efficiency and because I felt that the petitioner's witness had helped us out quite a bit and that the video doesn't lie. And the judge was carefully watching everything.
Yeah.
And she gave a decision that is the kind of decision that we want. We want to win, but regardless, we want a judge who's paying attention and makes careful note of the evidence and makes a ruling on the evidence.
Exactly. Making a ruling on the evidence, the actual evidence, because again, we know that Scientology has their version. They already have concocted their story of what happened, and that is what they're going to go with. So getting the evidence out there is it's to all of us watching, we're like, this is so obvious. It should be open and shut. But that's why Scientology throws these wrenches in. That's what Kendrick Moxon's job is, to slow it down. And you know what? They didn't. They didn't win here. Danny, good to see you. So much new things about Scientology on record is awesome. For sure, something they did not want. Absolutely, Danny. I'm so happy for you. And it's great to see you. It'll be great to see you back out there. All right, let's see here. Eric Rader, great point. Per L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology never intended to win any of these cases. They are done to steal your time, energy, and resources. In their eyes, they win every case they file. That is true. That is true. That is what they think because, you know, they have to follow what L. Ron Hubbard says about it. And their goal is not to win a case like this. Their goal is to make it take as long as possible. That's the only thing that they care about. And while they'll continue with this type of behavior, but they do it over and over again, and these judges learn more about the dirty tricks of Scientology and the Office of Special Affairs and what their members are willing to do, then the more and more, it's just the truth will continue to come out about Scientology, and judges will be more up to speed on what's happening because exactly this, what DT says, their tactics are so outdated, but they have to follow those tactics because in Scientology, you have to do what L. Ron Hubbard said every single time. It was good to see Danny back out protesting yesterday. Yes, indeed, it was. Bridget says, I am happy for you and Leah and that is all now over. Loved Leah's live last night. That's fantastic. Oh, hey, from Slovenia. That's awesome. You know, my daughter Shelby has been there twice. Even my granddaughter Mina went. They went, I think, last summer. She has some friends there, but I've heard great things about it. All right, let's see here. Did I grab this? So a question from ex-witness Vernon is, are they still wearing masks inside the orgs? Not that I'm aware of inside the orgs, but we do still see Scientologists and staff members sometimes wearing masks, especially in Los Angeles, which I think is more about not wanting to be seen on a live stream than anything else, that it's not about protecting them from germs or anything like that. At least that's how I see it. And Sovereign saying, jealous of people who can see the auroras. I got to see the really big ones in 2003. I think it was way up in Maine. It was so cool. Yes, we're out here hoping to catch them. We're a bit north from where I live, and we are supposed to be in the viewing area here in Minnesota. If you guys go Google it, the Northern Lights, it actually is quite a bit of the northern United States who should be able to see them. And I'm going to try to stay up later tonight. It was really hard. I made it till 11 o'clock, and I was just like, I was out. But tomorrow, tonight, I'm going to try and stay up later and then just see if I can sleep in a bit tomorrow. I don't know about you guys. Even when I stay up late, I don't sleep in. I'm just not able to sleep in. Danny, I hope you're seeing all the love. So many great job, Danny. Hi, Denny from Eric Rader. All of that in the chat. Sovereign, yeah, when they harassing people, they have them on. I'm not totally sure what you're saying there. You have to explain it to me a little bit better there. Oh, yep. Amanda, your background's so beautiful. Reminds me of a cozy mountain cabin. Oh, it'd be so great to be in the mountains. but we are near a lake, which is awesome. And if any of you are staying up to see the Northern Lights, and you do, I would love to hear about it. And if you see anything Scientology, cult related, and you think it would be a great topic for the recap that I do pretty much 6 days a week. I don't usually do a recap on Sunday unless there's a lot going on, but I will do some other type of video and content, probably something with my sister tomorrow. We might do it 2 days in a row since I have her captive with me here. And yep, Gina, I saw that on Aaron's channel last night. Scientology Audit Streets LA was in the chat saying that he wanted to protest Kendrick Moxon at his home or office. I think he said home. So I'm sure we're going to hear more about that. Let's see. Sovereign says the masks, they wear masks still when they're out there getting in people's way, which they do a lot of. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, James, you saw the Northern Lights when you lived in Scotland. That's very cool. I can't wait. We're further north, so there's like less light pollution. So, and I mean, honestly, I've seen them at my house, but the further north and away from the light, we should be able to see them better. And the timing was just fantastic. So I'm glad that we're here and we're doing that. So that's what I got for now, but be sure to like the video, hit subscribe, set your notification bell to all, because if we are on time, I should have that interview live today at 5 p.m. Central with Scientology Audit Streets LA. But keep an eye. If there's a change to the time, I'll put something in a community post. But thank you guys for being here so much, for your support, for showing up, for supporting and elevating the voices of people who are speaking out against and exposing Scientology. And most of all, I hope all of you have an amazing cult-free day.